Welcome to Global Business. I am your host, Dr. Neva. Global Business, where we focus on business internationally and also overall the growth of your business. Today I brought along my co-host. His name is Phil Andrews, and Phil Andrews, he has many accolades. I feel as if I can introduce, yes, but he's going to give himself justice. He's going to dig in and let you know who he really is. We're going to talk a bit about PR globally so that you can understand PR and how to get your business globally, that you could have an insight. Now, Phil Andrews, first, he's the president of the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce. Number two, I'm going to need some help here, Phil. You are the president of the Black PR Associates.
Yes, it's known as the Black Public Relations Society of New York, commonly known as BPAS. It's a part of a national organization of PR practitioners.
Excellent. Now, tell us about, first, the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce, number one, and number two, BPAS.
Well, the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce is currently the largest African American Chamber of Commerce in the state of New York, and it serves the 4 counties of Kings County, Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk.
The original Long Island, because people need to understand the original Long Island.
When we founded the organization, we went back to the original definition of Long Island, and we brought the region together. And the second organization is a part of a national movement to get PR practitioners in the highest positions across the global companies around the world. It's a C-suite. You know, that suite, that a position that reports directly to the CEO of global firms. Excellent.
So, as we're talking today about PR and the global aspect, I'm going to tell you a little story about me. Basically, I left the United States to go to Jamaica to start a business there, and that business was National Educational Ventures Alliance, where we basically help students to study internationally. When I got to Jamaica, I figured out pretty much I did not know the scopes of how Jamaica is operated, the business aspect. And a friend said to me, you know what, you need someone with that expertise. You need a PR person on ground. And I called on her, the PR person, and in no time she was able to connect me to the media. Is that something that you do?
Oh, yes, we do that. Media is a very important concept, but the moment that we step onto the internet, we're already global. So the world is a lot different today than you heard of companies going viral. Because they put a video out. So I think you have to be comfortable today to talk to one person, or talk to a state, or talk to 50 states, or talk to the globe. So we communicate in so many different ways every day. Sometimes you're talking to one person, sometimes you talk to hundreds, and sometimes you may be putting a message out to a country. I think the bottom line is we got to say, who is my customer? Is my customer a particular country? Is it a particular territory? Then we could kind of shape our business in the niche that we need to through communication.
So they need to find out who's your customer. Do you think the people that you work with, do you think they highlight who are their customers? What are some issues that you find that people don't do that they should be doing? As you just mentioned, who are your customers? Because, we're all excited. We just want to go online. We just want to advertise that we have a business, and we don't target. So what challenges do you find?
I think we need to do market research. I think we need to think about who is my customer through research. And also, how does my customer think? How do they feel? What colors do they like? So we sometimes we try to give what we want to the customer, but my mentor used to say, selling it is a away game. It happens in the mind of the prospect, not in our minds. So
I want you to repeat that they can hear what you just said. What is it?
I just said that selling doesn't happen in our mind. It happens in the mind of the prospect. And often we do things that we put in our mind without considering the prospect.
That's interesting. That's definitely interesting. So that's one issue that you find. Is there another issue that you can bring forth that people need to, do better?
Well, one of the things that we got to do is we got to be conscious of our brand every day when we communicate, how we dress, how we communicate, how we write things, because every day we have a branding opportunity. We have an opportunity to increase. What public relations does is it kind of like raises your brand in the marketplace. So you have to give careful thought and consideration to what you do every day, because it's like an avalanche. It starts small. Like you may be talking, I heard one minister said one time he was so small and he had 10 people in his church, but he used to go talk to thousands, and he built his congregation that way. And a lot of times companies, just because they're small don't mean they can't be global. Give you an idea, they say UPS, there's a well-known story that UPS started with $5 in a bicycle, but you wouldn't know that. Purdue started with a chicken.
So we could go start business now with $5 and a bicycle?
Yes, the concept is if you start turning revenue and your business begins to profit, I wonder what it could become. So you don't need a lot of money, but you need to get in the way of profit. Because if you made $1 every day, you know what I was saying, if you had a penny double every day. So business is about getting in the right profit, in the profit mode. But globally, I think we have an opportunity. Today we talk to more people than we probably ever talk. We have more friends. You probably got about 5,000 friends on social media, just on Facebook alone.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends, and
Yes.
Phil. I mean, Phil and I go back some years, and I am always about the global aspect, international business, and as a woman, that's another aspect. Doing business internationally varies, being a female, and branding in itself, depending on if your gender, can vary as well. But I'm doing this show with you, the expert, because I wanted to show them, no matter where, yes, you need branding, PR locally, but on an international level, you have to step out there like you are the authority, and PR does that for you. But why people don't take advantage of that, is another question.
Because you should have a plan. You should have a plan. Every business should have a plan. There's things that happen in your company. You bring on another person. You expand to a new product line. There's certain things that's going around the globe. There may be a National Earth Day that your product could tie into. So what it is, it takes planning, because sometimes the business owner gets so busy, they don't look at the news that they create. And I think success in a business is really telling the story. Like you just had a very successful conference, and you got to tell a story about that. More people need to know what went on in that conference. They need to know. They need to know some testimonials that happened. So, what I heard years ago, if you keep telling your story and you're telling your story, people buy into your story.
Exactly.
Long before you become big, you was telling that story for many years, and then it just started mushrooming.
So saying that you're going to tell your story, and I'm going to tell my story.
That's correct.
I want you to tell your story now, right? And then I'm going to say, so go ahead, tell your story.
Well, one of my claims to fame is that I was a franchise owner in my 20s. I had 10 stores and 100 employees, and I wrote a lot of checks in the community. I sat on boards. I had Kwanzaa events in the barbershop. I gave scholarships.
So your franchise was the barbershop,
yes,
right?
I mentored. So what happened is we need a platform, and the other thing is that sometimes it takes time to turn things into an asset. Dr. Neva, a lot of people don't Dr. Neva. So Dr. Neva got to get her brand out there in a consistent way, because Dr. Neva just didn't become Dr. Neva overnight. She had to get
Dr. Neva, that's me, by the way.
Dr. Neva had to get some credentials and had to, so a lot of times we we take light of the frame of when you succeed, you need frame of references. Give you an example. You know, when I meet somebody, I can say I've been on WABC, NBC. I've been on NBC. I've been on WABC. I've been on FiOS. Been featured in Newsday. So people can say, all right, I know WABC, so that affects the brand.
Right.
So all of these things, associations, and credentials. Your credentials are important. If you don't, someone said, if you don't tout yourself, no one else will. I'm gonna give you a story that I heard about James Brown one day. James Brown was gonna be playing down the block, and he said, "Hey, I'm James Brown. I'm playing down the block." 20 people went to go see James Brown. Then another 30 people was on the street. He said, "Hey, I'm James Brown. I'll be playing down the block." And then another 20, 30 people went to see him. The moral of the story, if you don't promote yourself, no one else will.
Exactly. And so many of us fail to do this. Even myself, I'm guilty of it. And I have to constantly remind myself over and over, got to get out there. People have to know who you are, and you have to become that authority in what you do. And all of that, you need the help of PR. And that's part of the reason I joined the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce, because I know, not because you had the name as the president, of course that helped, and I knew you before, you know, the organization, of, you know, my knowledge of the organization, but just knowing your strength as a PR person to help me to get out there, that people know what I'm doing. Part of branding is media in the newspaper, and, you know, right now, people being able to see me and getting the realize that I know what I'm talking about and you know what you're talking about. So with my story, I have traveled a lot. A few weeks ago, I was in Dubai, where I assist a school to get international students into the United States, signing MOUs, which Memorandum of Understanding, with different schools that they can have exchange programs. You know, that's one. My story also helping, you know, the small business owner, helping a young lady the other day that started her hair extension line. And I said, wait a minute, I have the connections to more than help her with getting the product itself, the hair extensions, but also helping her to build her business. Now, how does this come across globally? The fact that I have contacts internationally to make this happen. But at the same time, people have to know that I'm doing this, kind of like James Brown.
Yes.
With the international conference that I did, Women's International Day Conference last year, I'm going to do it again because I realized how beneficial it is for women to be motivated and inspired and, you know, continue to excel in business, and walking around constantly letting people know who I am. And I always say, what makes a difference between, you know, these musicians? What's the difference between why a Beyonce is a Beyonce and someone else is not, and they're both talented? Well, what do you think that?
Well, today we got more leverage. I mean, one of the things that's today is that we got the ability to store information, meaning nobody can say Dr. Neva is not doing anything, because we could show them. We could show them videos where you're talking to leaders in Saudi Arabia. We could show your conference. So today, the ability to show things, because, you know, people always doubt you, like, I don't know, somebody said they could do X, Y, Z. So we got a tremendous amount of leverage with social media. We got platforms like Instagram, we got LinkedIn, we got, so we can easily, if we talk about just those couple of major platforms, we talking about 100,000 people may be already seeing you, but you don't know. Now, each one of them keeps its own statistics. I know when I go on Google Plus, it's like 100,000 people have seen my work. So not that I interact with all 100,000, but we already global, because now it's creating that buzz. Somebody's talking about you, you know, word of mouth, because that's what you want. You want your business to eventually say that people are using positive word of mouth, and you're going to use that as an acquisition strategy for more customers. That's the most powerful thing it is for somebody saying Dr. Neva's conference was great. And I heard that a couple of times. They said your conference was fantastic. They was totally satisfied. Now that's a doorway into the marketplace. So now we got to say, I wonder what that conference can become. That conference, women's conference, could be a global women's conference.
My vision is so wide for what I want to do and what I want to accomplish, and I am all about, as I said before, international, global, having that perspective. So yeah, I have that vision, but I also have that vision to educate business owners. Mm-hmm. Whether you're international or not, you need to know how to take yourself to another level.
Well, one of the ways to do that is talk to people.
How so? How do you?
Well, you're going to talk to people, and then you're going to talk to people, and then you're going to talk to more people. One of the things that public speaking could jettison you to success. If you always find yourself in the audience, you need to find a way to be in the front of the room more. Because more people have become successful by being in the front of the room because it jettisoned them to success. That's a form of PR, right? Because everybody knows the person in front of the room. This is all eyes on you.
So Phil, I'm going to ask you a question. Tell me a story of a successful client that you have helped in your business.
Well, I've helped many people. I've helped so many people, prominent awards, top 50 influential on Long Island. We just recently got a diversity award. It's so many people have been helped because so many people need to raise the level of their brand, because there's a lot of brands out there. Like this guy my mentor, his name was George A. Jones. He was a retired brigadier general. He said, man, there's a lot of Joneses out there, but you couldn't dare call him George Jones. You had to call him George A. Jones because he wanted to separate himself from the Joneses. Okay. And that's what we need to do. We need to get our brands to a level of the marketplace because there's a lot of noise. So you got to have clarity in your marketing. You got to have clarity, focus, consistency, and people even got to hear the integrity.
I want you to say it again.
Clarity, consistency, and focus. Because we live in an over-communicated society, but there is a way to get through. Also building a community like Facebook. As an example, Long Island African American, I think we got 1,300 people. It's a fans, but that's not just the 1,300. The 1,300 is impacting other people. They're sharing, they're telling. So you need to build a community around your business.
And do you think some business owners, they use social media effectively?
Some do and some don't, because social media is just that. It's not trying to sell someone. It's a given that people, when they become to know, like, and trust you, it's a given that they will buy from you. So I think it's a way to engage people, and also, hey, I haven't seen Dr. Neva in a week, but I seen her on Facebook, so we're still connected. So it's a way to keep people connected. When you didn't see people in the past, you felt a sense of disconnectedness. So thank God for social media. We could be connected to thousands of people, and all type of good things happen. We may need to raise funds for a cause through social. We can do things in an instant through the tools that we have today, and we could begin to market your position and your brand or your company with your particular jingle. Of course, every company got to have a jingle.
So what's my jingle? I need a jingle now.
Well, the jingle, what I think you should do is you should give some thought. We create jingles. I think you should read a book called Duct Tape Marketing to really think about, how do I make my business stick? If somebody says something, if you gave them a jingle, would they know what your business is? I don't know why Frosted Flakes, if you say they're great, everybody knows who it is.
Nike,
yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
So you would think, boy, that's such a simple thing that they came up with a slogan that people could tie their business down and almost everybody know what it is. And we have to do the same thing for small companies too, because when you only got a few seconds to get in and let people know what your business is.
Yeah.
And like the chamber, our thing is, we're the New York State largest African American Chamber of Commerce. And some people called me and said, Phil, how do you identify you the largest African American? Well, I said by virtue.
You claim it.
I said by virtue, there's 1 million African Americans in Brooklyn, there's 500,000 in Queens, and there's about 300,000 in Long Island. So
repeat the numbers. I just want to make sure.
1 million in Brooklyn, about 500,000 in Queens, and about 2,000 to 3,000 and 300,000 in Brooklyn. That makes this the largest African American market in the country. And by virtue of us being here, we're going to claim that market and we're going to serve them because the businesses are already here in this region.
Right. You know, I hope people, when they're watching, they're really seeing the value of PR and chamber, joining an organization that also help you to get PR. Of course, you have to know how to work it because, you know, I've heard conversations. People join organizations and they don't know what they're doing. They just say, oh, I join and this organization somehow is going to be just overnight. Something's going to happen. And that's not always the case.
Well, I want to talk about PR cousin.
What's that?
PR cousin is marketing. Now, marketing, I've been taught that it's the total communication link to the public. And marketing create finance. You don't even need money to start with money. You need marketing to create money. Because if I don't have no money, and I tell people, hey, you see that park down there? I'm going to be teaching people how to exercise. I started with no money. 20 people go down the block and they exercise with me and they give me $20. I started with no money. I started with marketing and I created money.
Nice.
Because there's forms of capital. There's intellectual capital. You don't have to start with money. We're going to pay you for your intellect. You got intellectual property. You got a book. So,
oh, yes, I have a book.
Or somebody may want to be coached by you. Somebody needs advice. So there's intellectual capital. There's cultural capital, like the West Indian Day Parade. That creates a lot of capital, right?
Yeah.
So there's different forms of capital. And there's also, what about a trade attorney? Would you pay for somebody because they know how to protect your property? So there's different ways that we don't have to start with money, but we have to have something to give. Value for value. Something that people would say, you know what, I want this. Money is just a medium of exchange. That's all it is. And that's how it's been since the beginning of time. But one time they used to use the cows and different things for money, right? But we just moved to money. But
well,
it's still
they
the
still
same
do that,
concept.
you know. The other day I went to an event in Kenya, and as gifts they start giving cows, and I was just standing there like, oh, are you serious? This still happens? And it does. Yes, people, it really does happen.
But I definitely think PR is a lot of people don't look at that they have a PR program. I mean, you do a lot of extraordinary things. Your business have an anniversary every year. I mean, you have accomplishments, and sometimes we just don't talk about them. But the practitioner takes advantage of everything. You're telling their story, you know. And even in the chamber, we highlight business. A business join the chamber, we make a release. You know, they get an award. They release a book. So these are the things like, it got to be like, you got to pay attention to every little detail of your business, because if you don't make a big deal out of your business,
who will?
I don't think nobody else will. So that's part of it, you know. And have a plan around your business. Businesses, a lot of businesses start out small. I mean, it's the biggest even no matter how tall a house is, it had to be built from a foundation. And a business is the same way. But the thing is, you got to look at your business like, what I wonder what I could become.
Exactly.
You know, and have the vision and keep holding that. And you'd be surprised with a little marketing, a little word of mouth, and tell people too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know sometimes people don't have a lot of advertising dollars, but we tell people if something bad happened, right? But we tend not to market our business the same way.
Yes, exactly. And part of that, I have an event coming up, a training program pretty much for women, where they can register, it's business development, certificate in business development, that they know how to build their businesses. And it's not just a training program, because at the end of the day, you're going to come back and you're going to compete for $5,000. You know, giving women that leverage. And in that class, I'm going to talk a little bit about PR and all that stuff. Marketing is the PR is marketing cousin. I like that. You know, again.
Well, you might want to attach. That's a great idea. I like the idea, and you may want to bring somebody like me to talk about PR. You know,
Phil, you're always in my phone on the next call. You know, I call you every second. Yes, we need,
because you got different expertise, and
yes.
I think it's an excellent idea because we have so much to give, and in a business you can't be all things to everybody.
Of course, and
every business got to have its practitioners. That's why you need your lawyer. You need your person that got the writing ability. Everybody does.
You know that someone is going to say, "Well, I'm a small business owner. I ain't got no money to pay all these people." But let's be real. There are resources out there that it's not that expensive to do. You understand? So you have to find that resources and.
Well, let me give you a story.
Let you know.
Let me give you a story. I read. I saw this documentary somewhere on TV about Black enterprise. There was a point where Black enterprise was not as big as it was today, and he had to get people on his board, advisory board that could help his company. So in America, there's always somebody need help to leverage before they get successful. Like even Obama, we hear, oh, he's the first president, but we never talk about all the people that helped him. Some people that gave him encouragement when he didn't even think he could do it. So these are the things that we need to do. Even a small business needs some type of advisory, somebody to bounce ideas off, because they may save you some money by saying that's a bad idea. But it may be a good idea, but you're going to ultimately have to make that decision, but it's good to have advice. And some people keep people around just for the negative point of view. Give me the negative point of view. I want to know the bad side. But you'd be surprised having a team what it could do, and especially specialty. And Think and Grow Richer talks about that specialization. If you bring different talent together, that's what a company is. A company is an organization. Even when I had the franchise, the reason what made us different is that we had a president of a barbershop. We had a vice president. We had a secretary. Most barbershops do not have.
They don't have all that. They just open up.
They just open up.
Give out flyers and come on and do business. Well, thank you so much, my co-host Phil Andrews, for coming in, and you will see pictures of Phil's work and the things that he's doing in the community. Dynamic. Yes, he's local, but expertise internationally. Awesome. Thank you so much. And how can they find you, Phil?
Well, they can find me by logging on to our website at www.liaag.org. LIAA.org, and you could just Google Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce or LIAG, and you'll see plenty of public relations.
Definitely, definitely. You're always posting. I always see that. And as far as reaching out to me, you can find me at Neve, N-E-V, Alliance.com. That's NeveAlliance.com. And you could also Google Dr. Neva, N-E-V-A. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.